He looked me in the eye, smirked, and told me my overtime wasn't real. 7 years later, I took $135,000, humiliated him in court, and that same night, he crashed his brand new Mercedes while drunk. Karma doesn't miss. If you've ever been disrespected at work, lied to, or had your loyalty thrown back in your face, this story is for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in for one of the most cold, calculated, and satisfying revenge stories you'll hear all year. It all began in the early 2000s, when I was young, eager, and full of hope. I just joined a fresh-faced startup with big ideas, tiny budgets, and a promise of growth opportunities. We agreed on the basics, a modest salary, no paid overtime, and an evaluation after 3 months, then annually. Nothing exciting on paper, but the work. The work was thrilling, complex, challenging. It pulled every ounce of creativity and focus from me, and I loved it. Even though the money wasn't much, I told myself, it's okay. This is an investment in myself. I'm learning, I'm building. And build we did, for 3 years. 10 solid clients, money started coming in. New clients began trialing. It wasn't just a hopeful startup anymore, it was becoming real, valuable, but all this came at a cost. My time, my health, my overtime. Hundreds, no, thousands of hours unpaid. I kept quiet, trusting that the promises would come true. We even talked openly, in company emails, about back pay, bonuses, and equity. I felt secure. I trusted them. I should have known better. 3 years in, the topic of compensation finally came up. I tallied the overtime, over $50,000, a big number. But fair, earned, discussed, in writing. When I asked about it, they said it couldn't legally be back pay, but they could offer a discretionary bonus, or maybe even equity, if cash was tight. That sounded reasonable. I wasn't greedy. Hell, I even offered to take discounted equity instead of cash, a win-win. But then, the offer came in. Equity, sure, but only 0.01%. Of a company valued in the hundreds of millions, a valuation that made no sense. We had 9 employees and maybe $2 million in projected revenue. They looked me dead in the face and offered me a crumb, hoping I'd smile and thank them for it. I didn't. Instead, I walked out. The day they made that joke of an offer, I handed in my resignation. That wiped the smirk off their faces. You see, the CTO panicked. Why? Because the CEO never updated my contract. Legally, I was still entitled to a full month's notice plus all my unused paid leave. So when I quit, it was effective immediately. I packed up, walked out, and didn't look back. That office, those people, they didn't deserve another second of my time. The next day, I sent an official, registered demand letter for my unpaid overtime. They replied, predictably, no overtime exists. Bonuses are discretionary. Cute. What they didn't know was, I'd already spoken to a lawyer. And not just any lawyer, one who understood employment law to the bone. He told me, they're toast if you want to go to court. I grinned, but I wasn't done. I wasn't just going to sue them, I was going to destroy them. While reviewing labor laws, I spotted something beautiful, a 7-year limitation window. You could wait almost 7 full years to file a claim, and during that time, daily interest would compound at 12% annually. That's 9% above the base rate. So I asked my attorney, what happens if we wait? Let the interest build, he smiled. It was risky. If the company folded, I'd get nothing. But I knew the CEO, arrogant, ambitious, he'd never walk away. I bet on his ego, and I was right. I sent one final letter. I expect all owed and accrued amounts to date to be paid immediately. They ignored it, again. So I waited, 6 years, 11 months, then, boom. When the time came, I hired the best. We had it all. Company emails. Registered mail receipts, their written denials. My lawyer's airtight case, the new number. $112,000, with interest. And that wasn't all. Turns out, there are penalties for each unpaid overtime instruction. That pushed the demand to $135,000 when the CEO got the papers. He lost his mind. He called me, yelling, screaming, swearing. A full-on tantrum. I hit record. Every single in court. The CEO came in smug. That lasted 5 minutes. The judge listened to the phone recording, and his expression changed immediately. Then he read the emails, the letters, the timelines. The deliberate refusal to pay. He looked at the CEO and said, "You will pay the full amount immediately and without delay." The company also had to pay all my legal fees, but that wasn't the end of it. The judge ordered a full audit by the Department of Labor. Turns out, I wasn't the only one they'd screwed over. A week later, I had $135,000 in my account, but the cherry on top. That night, the CEO, drunk, bitter, defeated, crashed his brand new Mercedes S-Class into another car. He got a DUI, his license suspended, his car totaled, his insurance. Didn't pay a dime because he was drunk. I sat back, drink in hand, watching the news roll in. It wasn't just victory, it was poetic justice. They thought I was just another employee they could exploit. But I turned patience into power, and their lies into my leverage. Revenge doesn't always come fast, but when it does, it's a masterpiece. If that story gave you chills, hit that like button, and share this video with someone who's been wronged at work. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? Let us know in the comments. And for more cold, calculated takedowns, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell. You don't want to miss what's coming next.